Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning, babe.
Look at this. It's so lit.
The craziest reflections coming off your face and everything.
The sun is right there.
It is. It's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the disaster.
I'm in a coffee commercial here.
It is. It's beautiful. The disaster that was our attempting to start the show this morning.
Oh, well, first we tried to start the show.
Right.
I didn't have my tomato cut.
Didn't have your tomato cut.
I didn't have salt for my tomato.
That's right. And you did not cut the tomato enough.
And then I cut it really thick, trying to hurry through it.
Just fails.
And then we weren't even rolling our video.
We weren't even rolling. We were like, okay, hey, we're going to have all of this wackiness at the beginning here. We're going to go full Abbott and Costello, folks. And then we weren't even rolling. So there you go. So we're trying to describe the chaos.
Describing comedy is always so
funny. That's always the most hilarious thing. Explain the joke.
We had a very interesting
Hmm?
couple of days. We sort of writing camped.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense.
It's like a staycay.
It's like the last part of our day for 5 or 6 hours. We are just writing.
Part of our day. It's more like right after lunch. We're already editing together another script that people are following along with on here, Origian. But we have yet another sci-fi movie that we've been working on and trying to put together and in pre-production for. It's about a mom whose kid is abducted by aliens.
Yes.
We had some notes once it got circulated to some industry people,
Oh, industry people. Ooh, we sound so highfalutin, don't we?
I didn't say what industry.
Sorry,
the hospitality industry.
The janitorial industry people.
Sometimes people are like, ooh, they really attach themselves to some idea that's in there.
Right.
But they imagine oh, you could take it this far. You could do something like this with it, right?
Right.
Sometimes they don't get stuff. Sometimes you haven't communicated it well. Sometimes you've communicated it in a way that you didn't expect.
I feel like we've always gotten this response about the script. Oh, I love the idea. Okay. Yeah. So it starts there. I love the idea that you guys are doing. Okay. I love the characters. Okay. I love this scene and this scene and this scene and this scene. Okay. You hear that and you think, all right, man, I'm doing pretty good here. Okay. All right. This is rolling. All right. Let's tack a couple of zeros onto that check and let's get this thing going. That ain't enough. I keep trying to convince myself that this is everything that's right with this script. So let's go. Let's roll. Autobots roll out and it keeps not moving. And I think we figured out why.
I really, I asked you to look at all the feedback again.
Yes.
Really get present to that in your mind.
Right.
And then we would sit down and start writing.
Yeah. And feedback isn't necessarily, okay, this is what we need to fix. That's not feedback.
I mean, feedback is literally telling you where people are getting hung up.
Right. This is what bothered me.
Sometimes I feel like people send stuff out for feedback, and this includes us. And we really just want people to say, yeah, it's good, or no, it sucks.
Right.
We don't really want the intricacy of real opinion.
Yeah.
Because that means you got to do more work.
I'll tell you the intricacy of real opinion. Okay. The last episode of True Detective, the way that everybody
people
went.
People were kind of mad.
Some people were kind of mad. And then other people were like, oh, I totally got that. Oh, I totally respected that. Oh, I totally appreciated that. And I was one of the people who really loved this season of True Detective. But some people brought up things and I was like, when you put it that way, that
like
part
what?
That part was kind of a mess.
Like what?
The tie-in to all of the first season. That all of that tie-in really didn't actually go anywhere.
True.
it didn't make any difference to the story at all.
So that it could ride on the coattails of the first season.
Yes.
And build mystery where there wasn't any.
Which was the major complaint of Baby Back Bitch, Nick Pizzolatto. Okay, the original writer of the first season.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, he shit all over it. He was saying that they are exactly that they're piggybacking on me, he was calling it lazy writing. He was being really, really unkind and stupid and ridiculous. And you can't do that to somebody else's creation, to just say, well, this is the way I would have done it. And they shouldn't have done it this way. I mean, that's not what it's about.
Don't be critical. Just have a better idea.
I 100% agree. And Isa Lopez, who was the director, she had a vision, and I feel like she executed that vision. And if you don't like that vision, have another vision. You have a vision, whatever. I'm going to say me, but I'm going to say maybe we were in a little bit of delusion on things that were not wrong with it.
I think it was Mark Duplass who confirmed me. Mm-hmm. You've probably heard me say on here before, puke it out.
Right. Of course. That's a classic writer thing. Yeah. Just get it out. Yeah.
Well, I think I came up with it, but no, I didn't. A lot of things were there, but a lot of things were not. And sometimes when I'm writing...
Like puked up spaghetti.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm writing, I think what we had done with, like, adding stuff or changing things...
Right.
We hadn't gone through and done really a full rewrite to rewrite something.
That's right. We
had added and altered.
We were grafting limbs onto a corpse.
Yeah. And one of the notes we got back was it's like 10 different writers wrote this. Mm-hmm. And they did, because it was us writing at different times.
10 different times.
Yeah. The first thing we did, though, was just block out a period of time and sit down. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. This is the time that we're doing it in. Mm-hmm. And I felt like you were kind of starting with a lot of defense of yourself.
Whoa! Come on, man! We're gonna start with that. We're gonna say I was already not in the mindset to write this.
No.
I think we just had to get clear. We had to get clean.
Well, hold on. Well, that's what I suggested, but
Yes, but you suggested it in a way that was kind of an accusation. Like I got a ticket in going 45 in a 41 zone.
What was going on was because you had read all the feedback, you were just kind of coming out with well, they don't like this and they don't like that, and who are they? And
right.
Do they get it? Maybe they just don't get it, and everything else, but it's mine to fix.
Right.
So I was like, well, first, let's just get all that out.
Let's release all of the negativity that we feel about the feedback.
Right. What's holding us back right now? Right now.
Right.
What do we have to let go of to be here, to really be present?
Right.
And I was like, well, I don't want to be doing this. I'm sleepy. It was 3 p.m. after lunch.
It was all that. Yeah.
I was like, I'm sleepy. I'm cold. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this.
All of this. Yeah. There's all of this stuff that, you have to get out in some way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just get off it. Okay. Whatever it is, get off it. Get it out. Get it expressed. Say it.
Right.
I have to give this up to be here. Mm-hmm. Then... all of that crap that's usually in the background, that's the noise going on in the background of your every thought, that loop.
It's really interesting.
It's gone.
It's really interesting that you said that, because there's an old-fashioned, old church terminology, which was you got to give it up to God. You got to give it up to God.
Give it up to God, yeah.
Give it up to God. It's whatever it is, all that sin, all that pain, all that worry, all that whatever, you got to give it up to God. Mm-hmm. Here's what's interesting about what you just said. Mm-hmm. You don't have to give it up to God. You're adding too many words there. You just have to give it up. Mm-hmm. Who you give it up to does not matter. You just give it up to the air. You give it up to the table. Give it up to this flying spaghetti monster. It doesn't matter. But the whole point is the giving up.
We start talking through what are the things that are going to happen to satiate so that this feedback never happened. Okay?
Right.
How will we create something now that will not generate that feedback?
The things that keep on coming up. Okay. It's not the characters. The characters are beloved. It's not the situation. The situation
sometimes
is
they
interesting.
were like, why does this character even exist? They don't seem to go anywhere.
But I said to you last night, it felt like when we read it back, there were like good ideas and good scenes that were threaded together with kind of empty train cars. It was just like, oh, this one's full of awesomeness. And then I guess I got to go through this empty train car to get to this other, really cool scene.
There was a problem with flow, certainly. Mm-hmm. We're just like, throw out every idea, every bad idea.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So we worked probably 2 hours. We were throwing out ideas. What if this happened? What if this? What if this? What if this? What if that? I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of go into research mode. Mm-hmm. Like I'll hit like a tipping point and I just kind of need more information.
I feel
like I need education.
I feel like one of the doors to better storytelling is specificity.
Specificity.
Specificity. I did say it right. Specificity. Specificity. Yes, but you're specific. You're speaking
this is like
specifically.
A 14. This is 14.
There's the
Oh
word.
my God.
Okay.
I was writing another script that I just started, and it's a period piece set in the 1770s. And there's
people just do. Tracy's just writing a period piece. Okay.
No, there's actually not many films about America during that time.
That's right.
It's a lot before and a lot after.
We're watching John Adams because it's one of the only things.
I want to hear how they thought they spoke.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like people in the past were more well-spoken.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm writing just her freaking age. Like, literally, you introduce a character and you say she's a girl of 14.
Right.
I type Fourteen.
14, yeah.
And I'm just like, this is not right. Like, I think I'm a terrible speller.
It is right, folks.
And the other day we were working together and I spelled some really difficult word right off the bat.
Yeah, and nailed it. Yeah, just absolutely killed it.
And then, I misspell specific. I go, hey, how do you spell 14? And you go, Fourteen.
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
But it shouldn't have 2 T's because it's 14. And you go, no, it's 14.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, it's 14, like 14. Technically, in the English language, it should have 2 T's.
It's not 14. It's 14.
I think you're saying it just because you're saying it because you know that it's 14.
I'm really not. No.
In your whole life, you've always said 13, 14.
Is it 13?
Yeah, 13.
13?
Yeah, 13.
13?
Yeah, 13. 13.
15?
15.
15.
No, it's 15.
Okay. It is spelled
14. It is. And I'm never going to be able to say that. We've given up everything. We've thrown out 2 hours worth of ideas. And we're really nowhere.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we've stumbled upon some cool ideas, but it's still too much like sewing this thing together. You know, it's not just a fabric. So typically I'll just start blah, 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 blah. I'll just be like Googling shit. I'll be looking at screenwriting books. I'll be just like go back to school.
Right.
Okay, I'm at an impasse.
What do we not know about this?
What do I not know that I need to know? Education is always my answer.
Right.
I said, hey, you remember that time like somebody said something like, it's not and then this happened and then that happened.
Right. And I told you that was Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Yeah, it was Trey Parker and Matt Stone
creators
talking about
of
writing.
Right. They were talking about the way that they have created South Park and the structure that they always follow to write an episode of South Park.
And then kind of writing.
Right.
Because, and then, like that kind of stuff is not really a story.
Right.
That they learned and kind of crafted something that they do, which is therefore and but. I was like, okay, well, let's try that out for size.
That the event occurs, whatever that event may be. Therefore, this is the response to that event. Or,
but
what you thought was going to be the response, something else comes in and creates an impediment.
So we went through like the first 5 pages of
Right.
our plot. And it was like, therefore,
It was doing great. It was doing great.
And then we hit a scene and it was just like, and.
Everybody, one of the first things that people said when they read the script was, love those first 5 pages.
Okay. And
Yes.
And people were like, those first 5 pages attracted me to a movie
that I didn't
this
get to
wasn't.
see. I didn't get to see the movie that
didn't
you had
pay
written in the first 5 pages.
Yeah. So I was like, well, why is everybody like so freaked out and so tense reading this first 5 pages?
Right.
And then I read the first 5 pages and I don't know, maybe because it's like you wrote words like panic,
Yeah. Yes.
frightened,
Desperate.
desperate,
Right.
nervous,
Right.
tense.
Right.
Maybe you wrote the tension into
You
that
told
scene.
the reader.
You
told the
them
audience
how to feel.
And then you're like going,
Oh,
yeah, but
why are they feeling
yeah,
that
but not
way?
really. Now they're going to be like la 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 after that.
Right.
And
No.
it just
they're
feels
really
weird.
freaked out for really no reason.
Yeah, there wasn't any real reason to be freaked out, and we never know the reason why she felt panic at that moment. It's just
So I'm
like,
like, okay,
just let it go.
Well, guess what? Like,
Yeah, no.
let's just why don't we just delete the words that
Right.
say to feel panic? Let's just delete all that.
Right.
And then what are we left with? Well,
We're left with
she's
this.
pissed.
Yeah, we're left with the scene. We're left with a little bit of, she's confused. She's
she's annoyed.
Yeah, she's annoyed.
So
all of the things that she continues to be throughout the rest of the script.
right. Well, and people feel the way they feel because you're telling them to feel that way.
This is the linear way that this story goes. Okay, it's day, it's night, it's lunch, it's breakfast, it's this, it's that.
It's dinner.
It's
breakfast,
dinner.
it's
Yeah, exactly.
lunch,
It was
it's
like
dinner, it's breakfast.
It was a series of goddamn meals
No,
at a
I
table.
was like, why are they eating
Why
so
are they
damn
eating
much?
so much?
I don't even...
They're going to be 300 pounds by the end of this film.
No, things that I really hate having to shoot are people eating and people driving. Like, I hate shooting that.
And it was all that.
And it was all that.
It was.
What I noticed was imagery or connection started to get made in the script that I wasn't expecting.
That's true.
It was like we had left little breadcrumbs for ourselves.
There were ideas that connected that we were not personally connecting.
I didn't realize.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this happens. And it's like, oh.
Right.
It's like that's been built into all the previous story.
Right.
And we didn't even know we would arrive at that destination. And of our inspirations and of the things we really wanted to communicate,
Right.
they were now getting naturally communicated through the flow of the story.
Right.
And we were just like, oh, well, this is a scene I always thought would be cool. It never fit in the original story, but now it's perfect.
Right.
So it's like the script actually was coming back to life. Was
Yes.
resuscitated.
We had an idea for a time pass that was so odd and subtle and weird
That it didn't come off as
that
a time pass.
nobody understood what the hell it was.
So
Yeah.
we were like, okay, but I'm like stuck on this. I really want this time pass. I want this time jump. One of the things as a woman that really shows time passage is your roots growing out.
Yes.
And
Or your beard, folks.
maybe you have something physical, a
Same thing.
physical note.
Same thing. Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, why isn't she dyeing her hair?
Right.
Her roots have grown out to the point now
Right.
that it's really ugly.
Right.
And you just want to dye it and never think about it again.
Right.
So immediately we know time has passed. Her hair is different.
Right.
She's dyeing it. She's sunken in. She's thinner.
Right.
And I don't think we're going to get that note as a question to now she's in a motel room.
Right.
There's shit everywhere on the walls.
Right. Right.
It looks like she's totally gone off her rocker.
Right. Exactly.
So now I think it's an effective time pass.
It is. It also is the very much a callback to the original idea of this film, which was that moment when the actress, I don't remember who it is, in Close Encounters, is watching the TV in the motel room and she sees Devil's Tower for the first time. The mother who lost the kid.
Right.
Okay.
And it makes
she has paintings on the wall.
Right.
And it's
their time has passed too.
Yes, exactly. But that's that whole movie that Steven Spielberg never made either.
Yeah. Yeah. and maybe that's something he really likes, is those kinds of time jumps where we skip tons of story. We don't tell the story. Mm-hmm. We kind of tell the beginning of the story and the end of the story, and we skip the middle. And that might be a good formula.
No, I mean, you can't go wrong with Spielberg, folks. I mean, say what you want. He's one of the greatest filmmakers in history.
During our discussion of like what's missing, you said, well, you remember like in Signs and in Close Encounters, how weird things are happening in the world.
Right.
Like in Signs, it's like sounds and crop circles and the dog freaking out. And,
right.
There's like a buildup in
right.
a world that's not quite right.
Right.
In Close Encounters, it's like this ship that ends up in the desert and like all these things that are being uncovered and happening. And we were just like, yeah, we have no world set up. Nothing weird's going on.
Right.
And so like, as we're going through and it's like, but therefore, it's like, oh, we can throw something weird in here.
Yes, and let's keep throwing weird things in.
Let's take advantage of where this is actually set.
Right.
Like our location for filming.
But it's also, you're taking it as weird because of the events that have happened to you. Mm-hmm. Okay? You're seeing signs in the sky. You're seeing signs in the sky because you're looking for signs in the sky.
Right.
Okay, are there really signs in the sky?
Are we assigning meaning? Does this mean something, or are we saying it means something? And what does it mean that we're saying it means something?
Which is the metaphor for religion and spirituality and a path of growth in our lives.
And also the inspiration for the film, which
yes.
was Richard Dreyfuss building the Devil's Tower and saying it means something.
Right.
But we're kind of saying, but what does it mean that we think it means something?
Right.
We knew where we were going, which was this couple was going to have a fight. It always like emulates life though.
Of course.
So we found this, we came across this tiny little thing that we were disagreeing over, and we turned it into this much bigger deal than it needed to be.
Right.
But afterwards, once it was resolved, I was like, I'm actually really glad we just went through that, because now we're in the headspace to write this couple's fight.
Now we can fight.
Okay. And then later, we were just sitting here having a snack, like tuna salad on crackers. And you start going into, as you will, some story from the Bible about this angel and this pool of water, and then this paralyzed guy, and Jesus heals him, and you just like went into this whole story.
Yeah.
And I was just like trying to make it mean something, like for us as the screenwriters, like what's the point of this? Why is he telling me this? And at the end, you just said, no good deed goes unpunished, and I was just like, well, that's in the movie now. Because I thought you were being helpful to help me to know what to do next in the screenplay. And I think the character would feel the same way. Like she's trying to get her daughter back from aliens, and you're telling me this story and it doesn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
You don't rise to the occasion.
Yes. That was Mark Duplass again.
So Duplass is saying, you don't actually rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training.
Right.
And this is a quote he heard somebody say.
Right.
So I'm quoting a quote that was quoted from somewhere else that was probably quoted from someone else. But that we don't rise to the occasion. We fall to the level of our training.
And I think that is extremely interesting, because if you fall too far, there's no point in even going back up.
Well, and if you have no training.
Right, exactly. The fact that if you have no training, you're going to fall so far that you're either going to give up or hurt yourself or die.
Make a big old mess.
Right.
But Duplass's point was, I read screenwriting books.
Right.
I read, how to be a screenwriter.
Right.
Even some guy at his level who's an amazing screenwriter, he says, I hand it out to friends, and I want to get their ideas so that
Right.
I can make it better.
Right.
So...
And anybody worth their salt understands that. I mean, Meryl Streep still has an acting coach. Okay, if that doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have a lot of digital copies, and I probably have 50 screenwriting books, and I'm always collecting quotes and shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I always have, like, on my notepad, I have a list of, like, cool stuff I can learn, or cool stuff I can do, or whatever it is, and I'm always adding to that. Because I need something to fall back on in those moments.
Well, what have we been talking about here? We've been talking about Mark Duplass, and we've been talking about
Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone and Jesus Christ. And,
Well,
and it's
Vonnegut.
all this. Right, exactly.
I can always fall back to Vonnegut.
It's all the same. It's all knowledge. It's all wisdom.
We're going to be editing part 8
Okay.
of Origian.
Okay.
And, yeah, let's do it.
Great setup.
She's a poet.
Interior ride kitchen day. Grace and Jeff are sitting at the kitchen table. They're making sandwiches with the leftover charcuterie tray. Jeff, $10 million.
Grace laughs. Grace, crazy. Did you tell Bettina that part?
I said we wouldn't have to move. Just the Cliff's Notes.
No mention of rabbits or children's literature. Got it.
What'd you think of him?
He's just a guy. More normal, like, smaller than I expected. Smart, but I don't know. Sad?
I kind of like that about him. We're all in the same boat,
His boat is definitely better than ours.
I was happy with our normal old boat.
I hate this move.
Interior, Emmeline's room, night. Bettina and Emmeline are drying off with towels around them, sitting on the bed.
Emmeline, can you braid my hair?
Bettina, oh my God, really? I've always wanted to braid your hair. I need to brush it first. Is that okay?
Emmeline nods. Bettina gets the brush and starts brushing her sister's hair.
Interior, Jeff and Grace's bedroom, night. Grace is in bed and Jeff is getting ready for bed.
Grace, so here's what I've come up with.
Shoot.
We're screwed.
Good start.
Whatever we decide, we're horrible parents. If we say absolutely not, this is crazy, which, by the way, it is, we're being selfish and controlling, possibly denying our daughter one of the greatest opportunities ever bestowed on a human being.
Not to mention the whole world ending thing.
That too. And if we say yes, then we sold our daughter to a trillionaire for some house stilts.
Gotta stop you there. Who cares what other people think? My problem is I want to ask Emmeline what she wants to do, but I can't be sure that she fully understands what all this means. So how do we even decide?
I'm more scared she'd go because she doesn't care. Like, we're connected to her, but what if she's not connected to us?
She loves her family. We get glimpses of that all the time.
It's a no. It has to be a no, right? Like, whichever way we go, we can't say yes. Can we?
I don't know.
We finally hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. That's something I really was pursuing.
You have been pushing hard for this, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I like it.
Well, I mean, I want to be able to get to a larger audience.
Yes.
Like, if double the amount of people were listening as we're listening this time last year.
There you go.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
growth.
that's growth. I mean,
I don't have to take over the world.
Well, yes.
I
I think you would do a great job, though, babe.
No.
You better than Putin. I think that should be a bumper
like
sticker.
farting?
How are you doing today? Better than Putin.
Is it Putin or Pootin? Putin. Better than Putin.
Exactly. What was your golf score? Better than Putin.
Better than Putin.
All right, folks.
I think
We want
that
to.
could catch on.
It could totally catch on.
I think that's a thing now.
That's the thing. Absolutely. We're getting T-shirts.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.